Before you meet my next guest, I'd like you to hear part of a letter that I received recently. And I've just got it tucked away under here. Here we go. Dear Deanie, in my continuing pursuit to deal with my memories of childhood sexual abuse, I was very fortunate to find the Child Abuse Survivor Monument Project. After years of denial, avoidance, addictions, rehab, failed relationships, therapy, and constant personal discard, my participation in the Monument Project has been the single most healing and influential event of my life. The main purpose of the project is to create individual hand casts, I'll just show you one here, of adult survivors. The second purpose is a healing process. For some it is liberating, for others it is overwhelming. For all, I believe it is recognition of their spirit. If you would like more information, please contact the incredible visionary, artist, survivor, and therapist behind this project. I would like you to meet him, my guest, Dr. Michael Irving. This letter is from Stephen MacDonald, who is with us today. Stephen, could you please stand so people could see you? Thank you very much for bringing this to our attention.
Thank you for having us.
And your square is here. It's the one right there.
Yes, that's it there.
How did this get to be the most, and I quote, the most liberating, single most healing and influential event of my life? How?
So many things for me came out of the project. From the moment I walked into the studio and this huge feeling of acceptance was there. It was actually frightening, the feeling. And then casting my hand, and that was a liberating and weightlifting experience. And Michael and the people that work there, and then meeting everybody else, all the other survivors. It's been so many things, one on top of each other, that just continues on.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you for sending this to me. Appreciate it. Let us show you what this is about. This is, well, Dr. Irving, you tell them this is the end result. We've got them far apart. They won't be like this. They'll be comme ça?
Yep.
Hands touching?
Yes, with a fountain in front. And
in downtown Toronto?
Downtown Toronto. We're looking at a spot on the northwest corner of College and University where the greenhouses are at U of T. That's the spot we're looking at where we'd like it to be, with a fountain in front. And there are 300 quilt squares on the two figures, and 276 will be made by survivors from across Canada. We've got workshops we've run in Toronto and then in other areas where people have made the quilt squares. They take a cast of their hand and do whatever art or writing they want on it. And our next phase is to run these workshops in other parts of Canada, and people are contacting us and setting them up. And then there's 24 squares that are left plain, so somebody can put their hand in the fountain, and when they're visiting the site and they put their hand on a plain square,
that's beautiful.
It's permanently interactive, and anybody who's pilgriming or supporting a survivor can, in a sense, always be part of the monument.
That is beautiful. How big are these figures in real life?
It's about 11 feet high, and on the outside of the arc, it's about 30 feet. So the space in between the two figures will be large enough for a couple of adults and a child to walk side by side. You really are inside of the monument, the way that the figures are designed when you're visiting the monument.
You've been listening to a man who himself is a survivor of child abuse. A little bit about your own history? I
was abused, and unfortunately, from toddlerhood on, and finally was able to leave my home because my stepfather was beating up my mother, and I knocked him out on the ground, and I was asked to leave because I was showing disrespect. That allowed me to break the bond of the dysfunctional family and the abusive family. And I was working as an artist all my life since I was young, and as a professional artist and a teacher as an adult. And a lot of my art dealt with psychological issues. And I studied psychology, primarily coming from the point of view of an artist and really wanting to understand what I was doing with my art. And through my work in workshops, art workshops, I started working more with sexual abuse survivors and had to end up dealing with my own childhood sexual abuse. And also seeing and hearing the stories of people who were really treated terribly just terribly. And as an artist and as a psychotherapist, the idea of memorial would visit almost every session. It would, you know, the connection is so obvious that memorials are about acknowledging adversity, and they're acknowledging heroes. And when you see somebody who's survived child abuse, and so many of the clients that I worked with, they were all heroes. They had strengths. They had so much to give back. When somebody meets adversity, very often the best in them comes out. Strengths come out. Now, there are many wounds that come from child abuse, but also people grow strong from it. And those strengths are embraced. And I think to heal from this wound, we have to, in a social way, use the thing that memorials do with adversity, is provide a monument that heals not only individuals, but the group. You know, the society is wounded by the knowledge of so many people being abused.
We're going to take a break. When we're back, we'll continue this discussion. This is the Canadian one, but there are plans for one for the United Nations, which is just brilliant. We'll be back in just a sec. Who designed this?